Tonight we're going to do an edition of Gourmet in the Galley, and we're going to do the grill edition, utilizing all the fantastic spaces here at the Marina. So we have charcoal grills, there's these brand new Holland grills that is for all the So we're probably going to start with dessert here. Why not? So anyway, we're going to get started with our baked apple recipe. So I'm going to show you the way that you can do it for a small group of people. I'm going to be preparing it for a large group of people. And our baked apple recipe is actually really pretty cool because it utilizes a couple of things that you don't normally use, like apricot jam and some maple syrup, brown sugar, and butter to make these apples. These apples also, when you do this, you can take the apple, cut off the blossom end, cut out the stem end, and cut it flat. And I'll show you how to do those. We're going to cut this end flat. And if I brought my paring knife, this would be a lot easier. But we'll cut out the stem end like that. And then we'll core it. And score it. So you would score the top, and this makes kind of a little cap as it cooks, and it just looks really pretty presentation-wise. Okay, so the skin will separate, and you'll see this differentiation between the cap and the bottom, and it looks really pretty. So what you would do is you would stuff this with brown sugar and butter, and we'll make a glaze with the apricot preserves and the maple syrup. You would use a stale piece of toast or bread, probably something like a baguette, hard baguette. You would set it on the piece of bread in your baking dish, and then you would put the items in it, such as your syrup, whoops, and your apricot jam. We'll take a good amount of this apricot jam. We're making a lot of this. We'll get a lot of that in there. Whisk that up. Take some brown sugar. Just a little bit. Not too much. No, I mean, the fat is free here, sir. We don't charge for it. The consistency that you start out with is going to be a lot different than what you end up with because it's going to be hot, but that's okay. And that's what the bread is for. So this is kind of a European dessert, if you will. You can add anything to this. You can add dried apricots to it. You can do raisins, craisins, cranberries, anything like that. If you want to put that in, walnuts, all those types of things are really, really good with this. You can get kind of creative with it. I'm going to use sour cream and sweeten it up. So that's something that's a little bit different. Not everybody uses that. You know, we're all used to whipped cream or something like that. This is going to be a little bit different. It's a little bit more European or French. This is a dessert that Jacques Pepin does. I've embellished it just a little bit, but it just looks really cool, and it's something that you can just set it. It takes about anywhere from 40 minutes to 30 minutes to 40 minutes to make. Can take up as long as an hour, depends on how many apples you're doing. But you're going to have a consistency that looks just about like that. Okay? And for all intents and purposes, you would have this sitting on your bread. You stuff it with your butter. I would prefer to use organic apples for this recipe if you're serving it a single serving with just the apple, as I demonstrated earlier. which would be, you know, it's pretty dramatic. Everybody gets their own apple, and you top it with the sour cream topping. Because I do these in an oven. If you put these in a 300 to 400 degree oven, they're going to take, no matter how many you have, as soon as they get soft, they're done. So if you did 4 to 12, I would say you'd be safe with the same amount of time. And it can take up to an hour. It depends on the density and the type of apple that you use. But I would say start checking them after 30 minutes. I'm going to start checking them after 20, because I don't want anybody to be disappointed with applesauce. Yes, so I'm going to take that, just like you asked, trim the blossom end off. I cored it on there. I did not score. See, these are the right ends. He didn't score the apple. I want my money back. My slip fees for the last 3 years. All right, and then we're going to take a little bit of butter. And we're going to stuff the butter down in there. I'm going to put the butter all over here. Again, I'm making this one up as I go along. I normally bake. This is new. We're going to figure it out. It's going to be fantastic.
Can you use something besides bread on the bottom?
All right, so we did that. We're going to take a little brown sugar, because I don't think we have enough. We're going to go over top, and we're even going to stuff some down in that one that we're going to do to make it look how we want it to look.
So did you butter it, or are you just counting on all that butter to kind of...
Yeah, all that butter's down. Yeah. It'll go down, it'll melt, and that's not what I want. Where's my dirty whisk? All right, we'll go right over the top here. All right, let's see how hot this is. That's hot. All right, these grills work, guys. These things work great. Okay, so we have dessert on. There you go. We're going to do an appetizer. We're going to do the oysters with arugula, Gruyre, and bacon stuffing. So we're going to do it with Portabello mushrooms. Is everybody on board with that? Yeah. All right. Good. It's probably better than oysters anyway, right? More Portabello fans. We're going to take our Portabello mushrooms. And I've prepped most of these already, filling them with the stuffing. And I'm going to grill down a little bit because these are hot, and I'm going to open it up just to cool it off a little. We're going to lay these out. So I've cleaned all of these out already. What I did on the bigger mushrooms, you can leave the gills in if you like that. I took the gills out because they do have a little bit more of an earthy flavor when they start to get big like this, when they're the little cremini ones. Not so much. You don't really have to worry about it too much. So I did leave one with all the gills in it. So if you didn't ever saw one and wanted to see what it looks like that. And what I do to clean it out, I just take a spoon and something to clean it out in so I don't get my cutting board all dirty. Come in and I just gently scoop it out all the way around. So we're going to take our bacon and we're going to chop it up into nice little lardons. Anybody know what a lardon is? It's like this. It's like a little strip of bacon. Call that a lardon. That's that fancy kitchen speak. Okay. I need your help for a second. Don't be bashful. Here you go. Taste that. I can't remember if that's the bacon or if that was the old wood chips that I was supposed to use in the smoker. Is it good?
Bacon.
Okay. Whew. That could have gone really bad. I was afraid to put it in my mouth. The last kid wasn't so lucky. All right. So what I've done is I've pre-made my stuffing also, okay? And so I wanted to make something like an Oysters Rockefeller, but you know, everybody's had Oysters Rockefeller, and I like to try to do things a little bit different, so I adapt. I kind of go into a recipe and I think, what's trendy? What do I like? What's new? And you know, everybody's getting arugula on pizza now. Arugula is great. It's got a little bitterness to it. It's got a little peppery bite. Has everybody had arugula before? I mean, it's all over the place. Arugula is really cool. So it's kind of spinachy, you know. You can cook with it. You can wilt it down. You can use it in just about anything. Creamed is great, just like if you were to cream spinach, which is almost exactly what we have here. I did add some Parmesan cheese to this, so I shredded some Parmesan cheese and added it in there to give the cream a little bit more consistency. All right. I'm just using some extra virgin olive oil here. 10W30. It's power steering fluid. No, it's just some olive oil here from Cleo's. If anybody's ever been to Annapolis, to the town center, not the town center, yeah, the town center. Cleo's oil, fine oil and vinegar bar is incredibly awesome. They make some amazing products. This one here is probably my go-to. I use it a lot. It's called Tuscan Herb, and it is an infused oil, which means that it has a little bit of rosemary and thyme and all kinds of good stuff in it, and it smells really terrific. It smells really good. You should smell it up here. It's fantastic. So we're just going to give our mushrooms a rub down. We don't want to put too much oil on mushrooms because they have a tendency to absorb it really quickly. Just like eggplant does the same thing. So we're going to put just a little bit at a time down here. So what I did was I sauteed in the garlic, celery, green bell pepper, and diced them all up. Used Kerrygold butter and sauteed them until they got just barely soft and translucent. Then some cream, some heavy cream, and I let it cook down for just a few minutes. You might want to start off light on your cream. Different creams are different. Where it depends on the actual company that you're buying, you know. If you're getting Triple Springs from Whole Foods, it's going to stay thick, okay? If you're using another one, it's going to take time to thicken up, so you might want to add cream a little bit. And consistency, there it is, okay? So it'll be kind of thick, okay? And we're going to take this, start stuffing these right in here. And if anybody has any questions or saying something you need to hear, let me know, and we'll address that. Okay, man, looks like a pig exploded up here. Gosh, all right. Gruyere cheese. You're gonna have a mess to clean up here tomorrow, Brad. This is. Yes, you can use cheddar cheese, Gruyere cheese, you can use goat cheese, you can use just about any kind of cheese. I like these strong flavors, like this strong flavor of Gruyere cheese. You could use mozzarella cheese, but you know, that's been done. Actually, these Portabello mushrooms, you can get them a little bit smaller than this too, and they make great hamburger buns. You can make a hamburger and use it as a bun. All right, so we're gonna get set up to do our third recipe. I was a little full of myself. I picked 5 recipes, so. I don't know why. I only had time for apples. So I've roasted this corn already. I roasted it just before I came over here. But I did leave 2 ears unroasted. So this is a salad you can do hot or you can do it cold. You can leave it on the cob. You can use all the same ingredients and put it right on the cob. You can add bacon to it. You can add just about anything you want to this. It's fantastic. You don't have to use creme fraiche. You can use sour cream. If you don't like sour cream, you can use yogurt. You can use mayonnaise. Okay, so you can substitute any of that creaminess out for whatever you like. But it's really nice. And we're going to need some cilantro, not parsley. I had to make sure I got the right thing. I do need to wash my hands and put gloves on now. We don't need that much cilantro. Let me do that. So the Mexican street corn is a lot of fun. Especially at the fall festivals, you're going to see a lot more of it. These people are buying corn roasters, and they're making these at the fall festivals. And what they'll do is they'll take mayonnaise and cilantro and lime juice, and they'll make a big old messy slather and just take a glove and go all over the corn with it after it's been roasted. And you eat it, and it's absolutely fantastic. And it uses an element of cheese that's a little bit different to what most people are used to. It's called cotija cheese. You can use feta cheese if you want to. If you can't find cotija, you can use queso fresco. You can find it in a lot of grocery stores now. But it's a hard cheese. It crumbles really well. And it's a farmer's milk cheese. So even ricotta salata works great. If you've ever had ricotta salata, it's fantastic, and you can actually make that in your own kitchen. Google it. Use the Google machine. All right, so we've roasted our corn, and we're going to strip it. And we take it off, and what I like to do, how I like to roast it, and yes, there's a million different ways you can roast it. You can roast it. See, there's that My Art effect right there on the corn. I love that stuff. That's my favorite part. So you can roast them. You can just rub them with olive oil, salt, and pepper, and put them right on your grill like this. If you want to watch them, just make sure you watch them and roll them. I like to use the aluminum foil because, like I told you, I'm always 10 minutes late. This gives me a little bit of buffer zone so I can go do some other things. You can roast them right in the husk if you want to. And that's what you'll see at a lot of the farmers markets and in the fall festivals. They leave the husks on, and they put them in this big, giant 50,000 BTU machine that's like a Ferris wheel for corn that didn't listen to its parents. It moves around through this fiery tube, and it just spins around. And it comes to the bottom, and it drops out, and it's all charred, and it's fantastic. What we're going to do is we're going to take these, and we're going to slice them right down and cut the kernels off. You can use a corn zipper if you want to. I find that it damages the kernels a little bit more. I will give you a little tip when you're using a knife and you're doing this. If you try to push down with just like this, it's going to smash the kernels. If you just take your knife and you tilt it, you're going to use the entire blade as you go down. And that's how a knife works. It doesn't just work with this little teeny square inch here. It uses the whole knife. So that's even like when you're slicing, you'll push forward or pull backward. So that's how a knife works. You use the more of the blade that you use, the better cut you'll get. And it comes right off nice and easy. And you can save these and wring them out and make corn chowder with them if you like. What can you use instead of cilantro? Basil would be amazing. Parsley. And not that fake parsley, the real one. Not the curly one that gets the bad rap. But the nice Italian parsley. Those are some of the things. I mean, really, if you wanted to change it up a little bit, you could use rosemary in it too. It would be fantastic. Rosemary is one of those things that you can not only use as an herb, but you can also use it to smoke food. So if you have big bunch of it, you can set it on your fire right next to your pork chops or your steak or whatever, and let it start to smoke, and it's absolutely wonderful. All right, so we're gonna go in here and we're gonna get our cotija cheese, which looks just like this. Really nice, big, fat, chunky. We just crumble it up, put it in there. More cheese, the better. Has anybody had the mushroom yet? I failed my first rule. I always taste, but I didn't tonight. So, wing and a prayer. All right, you can fix a lot of stuff with cheese and bacon. You don't even have to be a good cook. All right. So we made our crema that we're going to use in this. And it tells, I wrote notes all over the place. Add cotija, cheese, cilantro, and scallion. Salt and pepper to taste. All right. So how did I make this? What do I have on the recipe? Anybody know? I think I used creme fraiche, lime juice, no scallion yet. Oh, lime zest. That's what I used. And jalapeno peppers. This is why I bring you guys with me. So we just do a fine dice on that jalapeno pepper. And again, this isn't really going to add a lot of heat, but a little bit more sweet, and maybe just a little teeny tiny punch. All right? See how nice and creamy we get with that? You might have to share that. Okay, so we're going to go next to this panzanella, this roasted beet panzanella. Aluminum foil, olive oil, salt and pepper on the grill or in your oven for about 30-40 minutes, okay? So you can pierce it with a fork. All you do is scrub them, take the root end and the stem end off. Just oil them up and put them on a sheet pan and you'll be fine. You can even dice them. You can even dice them up prior too, if you want them to cook a little bit quicker. Just olive oil and a good amount of salt and pepper. They're tremendous. Has anybody ever had roasted beets? Most people tell me they've only had them like boiled. But roasted beets are great. If you can dice them up. You can dice up some potatoes and put them all together. Roast them in a pan. Fantastic. With carrots, they're nice and sweet. They're very versatile. Something about beets that I didn't know, but I am an avid bicyclist. So I'll apologize right now because that is me holding you up, driving through Deal. But if you drink beet juice prior to an athletic event, you're able to maintain a higher heart rate for a longer period of time. I don't even charge for that information. I am the Cliff Clavin of Deal. Hey, Noemi, did you know? So to peel a beet, what you do is you don't peel them before, you just take a paper towel afterwards. Make sure you put something down so you don't get your nice countertops all red. And you just slip these skins right off. They come right off just like that. Very simple. Once they're roasted, it's a piece of cake. Play a trick on your mates with that too. You just get the beet juice everywhere and go, ah! Ah! All right, so we're going to dice this beet up. just like that. We're gonna go down with some dill. So I told you it would get faster. We got some dill, some beets, some goat cheese, where's our goat cheese? Here it is. To where they're going to be perfectly cooled off here at the end. Okay. So we made our dressing for the beets. And that's over in the box. The dressing for the beets is honey, Dijon mustard, olive oil, horseradish, and orange juice. And it does say orange juice, right? Good.
And dill?
And dill. Okay, we're going to add the dill last. Okay, and then we do the goat cheese, salt and pepper to taste, and what did not make it on this list here? Oh, no, it's on there. Pumpernickel bread. Good. So we got it all. So what I did was I took the pumpernickel and I diced it up and I toasted it with olive oil and salt and pepper. Again, this is a make ahead if you want to. And that's going to go right into our beet salad. And it's going to be absolutely wonderful. Great to use in tomato salads. If you just take some regular bread, toast it up. Make a panzanella salad. Panzanella is a salad that has bread added back to it. It's fantastic with peaches and tomatoes. If you do a peach and tomato salad with basil, some olive oil, and throw some toasted bread in there, or some stale bread, it's fantastic. Fantastic. I wasn't using them anyway, obviously. We're making this up. Okay, so we're going to take our beet dressing. We're going to pour that right on, all that wonderful honey. Orange juice, orange zest, goat cheese, we're at our pumpernickel. Pretzel bread would be good with this. You can get creative. Okay, so we're going to do pork tenderloins. Does anybody brine? Okay, people brine. So, you know, brining turkeys got big for some reason. I don't know why. I think it was Alton Brown. Brined a turkey once, and then everybody was going to Home Depot and buying buckets and salt, and they were brining their turkeys, and Home Depot ran out of drywall buckets, and people were fighting like snow shovel fights in the parking lot, snow blower fights. It was bad. So that got really big. Well, you can brine just about anything. So we brined some pork tenderloins, and I've rubbed them. You have the recipes for the brines and the rubs. I think there's an omission on the brine. You're supposed to add the juice of the orange also, not just the zest. So you have the zest of one orange and the juice of it, or however many oranges it was. I think it was one for the recipe, okay? And then you do bring that soy sauce and all those other ingredients to a simmer. You mix it up nice and good. You throw your ice cubes in it, let it drop down to about 40, 45 degrees, and then you add your meat to it, stick it in the refrigerator for up to 8 hours, 24 if you want, it's fine. Okay, so we talked about brine a little bit. So we have pork tenderloins today. So The tenderloin is like the expensive cut, if you will, if there is such a thing on pig. I don't think there really is. It's very inexpensive. Larger pieces of meat that you can cook on a grill take less time than cooking several pieces of meat, and they usually go a lot further because people won't eat as much of it. If they have an entire pork chop, they're going to eat the entire pork chop. But if they have slices of pork loin, it just goes a lot further. So even though it may cost a little bit more, it's going to take you a lot further in the kitchen, okay? You do have to do something to them. I don't know if anybody cooks. Does anybody like to cook pork tenderloins? So your pork tenderloin looks like that, and turn around. Pretend this guy's a pig. Just kidding. Right back here, a lot of work. It's got the least amount of fat in it, okay? But it does have this thing right here, and that's sinew. And that's no good. We don't like the sinew. The sinew is bad joss. Not that it tastes bad, it's just kind of rubbery. We're not going to cook this long enough. Other pig cuts, you cook a long time because they have so much fat and so much sinew and so much cartilage that you cook them low and slow. We all hear that, low and slow with the pig, right? Well, that's to break all that down. And you know when it happens because it's like magic. You can cook it for like 6 or 7 hours and it's still tough, and then all of a sudden it just kind of melts away. Well, if we did that to this, it would be like shoe leather because there's no fat in it, okay? And we're going to take what is left of the fat off of it. And how we're going to do that is we're going to take our fillet knife, my trusty fillet knife, okay? And we're going to find that sinew. And you could see how I can everybody see how I can pull the sinew out like that? Okay? So we're going to pull it out just a little bit. And start here, and I'm going to cut this way just a little bit. Okay? So I'm going to start at the very end, and I'm going to cut this way. And then I'm going to come back after I get a little tail cut. So I'm going to come in here like this, and I'm going to run that knife just down like that. And I'm going to take this, and I'm going to cut back this way. And yes, you are going to lose a little bit of meat, but that's okay. So you just very finely get under there, okay? You lift it up, and you come all the way back. You try to get as smooth a cut as you can.
Is that because it's too hard to start at the...
And then there's all this little, little kind of loose skin on it. Again, this doesn't really take long. I'm making it sound like it takes a lot longer than it really does, but it's well worth the 5 minutes that it takes. Okay, then on this we have this little skinny end and this big fat end over here. So when you cook that on the grill, what's going to happen? The skinner end's going to dry out. So we can fix that really simply by folding that end in just like that. Okay? And then we little kitchen twine. It happens when I'm on the boat all the time. All the time. So we're going to take that little end, we're going to turn it in like that, and I'm going to take this twine, and I'm going to go around once and twice. And I go around twice on meat because that knot won't give up, okay? If you just do it once, that knot will loosen up on you, and you try to put your finger, so hold your finger here. Yeah. Just wrap it around twice, and you're good. Okay, so here we go. So our rub has brown sugar, paprika, Chinese 5-spice, very underused spice. Very, very good flavor. If you guys ever want to change things up a little bit, try it out if you haven't, okay? It's really good on pork chops. It's great on any cut of meat, but I like it on chicken and pork chops. If you don't know what it tastes like, you're going to have the opportunity to taste it.
Does it have MSG in it?
You can get it without MSG. I don't know if this one does or not. I'm sorry. Normally I cook with ingredients that don't have those in it, but it's hard to find that in bulk, as you probably are well aware of. Okay, so we're just gonna rub it up. Now, if you wanted to let these sit, you can wrap them in plastic and let them sit for a while, as I did these other ones. Okay? One thing I will tell you is after you grill it, make sure to take the string off. That's worse than the sinew. I'm eating and flossing. Time. Okay, pork tenderloins cook very quickly because there's no fat. We don't want to overdo them. We're going to cook them to about 140, 145 degrees, and then we're going to let them rest. Okay? Be a little bit pink in the middle. It's okay to eat pork pink in the middle. Say that 3 times fast. Okay? No, what's that?
Why do you let them rest?
Well, yes, thanks. This guy's feeding me over here. I love it. The reason why we're going to let it rest for 5 minutes is so that the juices inside stop bubbling and boiling. If we were to cut that immediately after we took it off the grill, we'd have a dry piece of flip-flop because all the juices are at the height of their excitement. The molecules are running around like crazy, like their parents are out of town for the weekend. And they're just going to end up on your cutting board. And all your flavor is going to leak out onto your cutting board, and it's not pretty. Okay. So we got our tenderloins on. We have our apples. I'm going to say it again. I really haven't ever sweetened sour cream before, so we're all going to get a lesson together. It's more fun when you do stuff in a group anyway. Maybe I'm getting a little ahead of myself with that much sour cream. We'll make Brad try it. Of course, Brad will eat anything.
There you go.
2 bells. All right. So, okay, so you can use any type of sweetener that you want. If you want to use honey in this, you can use honey. Stevia powder, agave syrup. Oh, what's my favorite sweetener? Maple syrup. Maple syrup is fine. It comes out of a tree and into a bottle. It's the best sweetener you can use. It's great in margarita, too. And actually, you could actually thin that out a little bit too if you wanted to, and add water to it. Or apricot jam. You could add jam to this. It would be fantastic. You could use any type of jam that you wanted. I'm thinking raspberry jam with sour cream and sugar, or sour cream on like a chocolate brownie would be fantastic. I mean, all these things are very, very similar. You know, like yogurt, sour cream, creme fraiche. You know, creme fraiche is the new big thing, you know? So creme fraiche is not quite a sour cream, and it's not quite a yogurt. It's like right in between. They make clotted cream, which is a really thick cream that they use over in Europe. It's great with strawberries, great with berries. I'm telling you right now, great with strawberries. Here's sugar. Sugar girl. Sugar lady. What is that? Mascarpone. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, the last Gourmet in the Galley we did a lemon zest mascarpone stuffed strawberry with a chocolate balsamic drizzle. I know, so you guys should have came to that one. We didn't even have to cook that. 140. We're gonna let them rest. I carry my pocket foil around. You never know when you're gonna need it. Never know when a barbecue is gonna break out. Put that right back in my pocket there. Okay. Let's get the beef out and start cutting some pork up. All right, let's cross our fingers. Hope these are done. Now, when I cook these pork tenderloins, I prefer them not to cook as long and to cook a little bit faster to get a little bit more char on the outside. But we're going to go with what we have tonight because, you know, we just make everything taste good no matter what it is. Whatever little hurdle we come up with, we figure it out. So if you get to this, like some of these pieces probably are okay, but I don't like that they're a little bit more on the pink side than I would like to serve you. So I'm actually going to put them back on in a pan and let them cook for a few minutes, and then they'll be fine. So we can always recover anything that we have, but we have a lot of this that's done on the smaller ends here that is absolutely perfect. And again, they measured to temperature. I'm sure they're all good, but just to err on the side of caution, I like to put stuff back if it doesn't pass the chef test. All right, well, you guys have been absolutely tremendous. Thank you for bearing with me on these little technical difficulties that we had. Are you going to serve right off of this? Okay, great. There it is. All right, so even though it's not a fall night, these are all kind of little fall flavors and fall things to get us ready for fall. So enjoy the Marina. Try these recipes. Adapt them to what you like. If you have gluten intolerance or anything like that and you want to ask me a question, go to that Stotler's Home Cooking page on Facebook. I'm pretty good about getting back to people right away. We can certainly figure something out. I will say that, you know, when I'm sitting here thinking about it, that there are a lot of things that people are trying to stay away from these days. And I try to do the same thing. So I try to use sweeteners, like I said, like the maple syrup. I don't really use turbinado sugar, but I do use maple sugar. You can buy maple sugar. It's not easy to find, and it is expensive, but it is very good. You know, refined sugars are really, they're not good for us. We know that. But, you know, a little bit here and there is not going to hurt you, hopefully. You never know, but. So, you know, indulge, eat well, eat good food. That's all I got to say, really. Thank you. Thank you very much. And stick around because there's plenty of food